Katie, really appreciate taking a few minutes to come back on. We talked to you a couple of weeks ago about your reporting on Florida's school zone speeding law and how there were just a number of issues that have popped up, including people not realizing that they could technically get a ticket while driving through school zones when the lights weren't flashing, and then the appeals process became very difficult. Now you've looked into Florida's new school bus camera law, another big issue. What did you find during the course of that investigation?
Sure. Hey, good morning, guys. So we actually started looking into the school bus camera law first. We actually started that investigation back in January, where it really started actually because I got 2 violations myself within 2 weeks of each other, and I thought, what is this? What is this new law? And at the time, I didn't really question my tickets. I ended up paying them. They came during the holidays, and I kind of didn't really have a whole lot of time to sort of deal with them. So I just paid it and kind of forgot about it. And then I just started wondering, like, what are these things? Where are they coming from? How many tickets have been issued? And so we started at that point and found there were a whole lot of violations being issued, a whole lot of money being made, and a whole lot of questions being asked by drivers who really felt like they were unfairly fined. I mean, these are $225 tickets. And, the intent of this law is noble and commendable. I mean, it's obviously to protect student safety, but there were just a lot of questions by drivers who felt like they were unfairly fined. And it revealed a whole lot of questions. And then, of course, we found out that there was no process in place for drivers who received one of these violations to actually challenge the ticket, which I think just fueled more questions of a money grab.
So what were some of the questions that drivers had who had received tickets from these school bus cameras?
So a lot of them felt like they had already breached the bus by the time the school bus had stopped and its stop arm had deployed. And so they felt like, hey, look, I didn't see the bus. I was already passing it. And stopping would have been abrupt and would have been potentially dangerous to themselves or other drivers. And so that was kind of the big question. And some of the video that they showed us, because when you get these violations, you get a link and you can look at your video online. And so when they showed us some of their video, there were certainly questions. They had kind of valid questions of, hey, yeah, it looked like you were already breaching the bus before the stop arm was fully deployed. And so that kind of, I think, was the main issue, is drivers feeling like they just didn't have the time to stop.
We're joined by Tampa Bay 28 investigative reporter Katie LaGrone, talking about her report on Florida's new school bus camera law and some of the tickets that have been issued. And that's the thing. I think it's pretty obvious that the school bus is stopped and the stop signs are all the way out. You got to stop. I think everybody realizes that. But then you start to get into this situation, well, the stop signs were just starting to come out, and Dana, we talked about this. There's a median.
The median.
Those issues.
Yeah, the median, because in my neighborhood, it's a really long street and it's divided. It's got grass in the middle, but in between the different streets, there's a break in the median. And so if the bus is stopped on the opposite side, sometimes the kids do get off and they cross the big street, but people think that because there's a median separating the road that they don't have to stop. And I actually posted a picture on Facebook, and people were divided over whether or not they thought they had to stop. So that's still something that people don't understand. Has that been an issue?
And that has absolutely been an issue, and more so down south in Miami-Dade, where so many people were getting these violations for stopping on the other side with the median in place. The sheriff actually came out publicly saying, yeah, that's not fair. And so they stopped issuing those violations. And here in Hillsborough County, it hasn't been as much of an issue when there is a median. But according to the law, if there is no median in place, you have to stop. And so, I mean, really, the cure-all here is, at the end of the day, when you see a school bus and they have the warning lights on them, and that's really important, is people don't even realize those flashing yellow lights before bus stops is your warning that the bus is going to stop. And so the cure-all here is when you see that, just stop, regardless of where you are. But this issue, the controversy around these cameras, became such an issue. Miami-Dade ended up suspending their program because of people getting ticketed unfairly with the meeting in place, and the sheriff saying, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And in addition to the lack of due process. So they suspended their program. In Polk County, we found that people were getting fined. Then they had to actually pay more to contest the violation. So it begins as a $225 notice of violation, but then if you don't pay it for 30 days, then it gets upgraded to a $329 uniform traffic citation. And only then in Polk County were drivers able to contest their tickets in courts. And so they've suspended their cameras as well to say, okay, let's just make sure that the due process, the process to contest these violations before they become a uniform traffic citation is in place. And so that process remains ongoing. They're still working out those details. Right now, actually, Hillsborough County is the only county in the state where you can appeal these violations, and it took nearly a year to get to this point.
Now, last question for you, and again, we're joined by Katie LaGrone, Tampa Bay 28 investigative reporter. You can find her reporting on this and a whole lot more at tampabay28.com. So when it came to the school zone tickets and the setup there, you brought some of the issues to lawmakers, and there was some talk that maybe we need to, revise the law, fix a couple of things. Is that going to be the case here with the school bus camera law? Are there revisions that need to be made to that based on what we've seen so far?
Right. So actually, it's opposite of what you just said. It's actually the school bus camera law, because we started investigating that first and found that there was no challenging process, there was no appeals process in place. The lawmakers got together, and last session they went ahead and revised the law to basically give school districts the authority to kind of handle the appeals process and not rely on the courts. So that change has already happened.
Okay.
And that's what we're seeing right now with school bus cameras. The school speed zone cameras, there's a whole lot of camera detection systems when it comes to schools these days. That process is what we have just started looking into, and we have found, obviously, as you mentioned, issues with the signage not matching up with what the law says. And so that is what we expect some future revisions to deal with this coming session.
Got it. Tampa Bay 28 investigative reporter Katie LaGrone. Again, you can find all of her work on these reports and a whole lot more at tampabay28.com. Katie, really appreciate the update. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.